Now, we invited you all here today because, well, your family.
Are you telling us you're getting divorced already?
That's what I thought too.
No. We have to sell the apartment. And we found a buyer already. So pretty soon, we're going to have to move out. Now, it won't be long before I get another job, and it shouldn't be long before we find another apartment, but in the meantime...
It's just a transition phase, probably just a week or two.
We need a place to stay.
Wait a minute. Did I miss something here?
These last weeks have been tough on us, Elliot. Losing the job, looking for health insurance. We need a breather.
Yeah, believe me, moving out of here is the last thing we want to do.
It's only temporary. We'll find a new place. Very soon.
I imagine you get this question like every other day, but you've had many triumphs on both movies and on stage and on TV, and I'm just curious for you, what's the difference between acting in film and acting on stage?
Well, stage, even in a subtle performance, stage is a grand gesture. You're performing for a lot of people in a big, big room. And in film, the camera is only a few feet away, sometimes a few inches away. That's the very most basic difference. The rest of the process is the same, being true to a character. So in a way, it's just a sort of technical adjustment between the two.
I'd read that you cast actors based on feeling and conversation, and I was just wondering if you could tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, I often watch YouTube to figure out who to cast, because often when you're talking about name actors, you don't get a chance to, there's no screen tests anymore, particularly for well-known actors. So one of the things I find is that I can really see who they are as people if I go and find them on interviews, just like things like this.
Okay.
Because you start to see who they are in the world, and that's actually what I'm most interested in. A great actor acts, but he or she is also themselves. And I think what the camera is able to do is capture that part of a person that is very true. So I do really try to find out who they are before I cast them.
I guess with film, you're forced to be a little more subtle.
Yeah.
I guess depending on the film.
Also, there's something, you have to sort of master a certain mechanical process in film. You have to make emotions so real and fresh. And the more you do a certain scene or a certain line, the harder it is to sustain that freshness. So a smart director knows how to capture that in the very early stages of working on a scene. This is not true with theater. You spend 4 weeks polishing a jewel, getting it to the point where it looks fresh, but it's not.
A lot of people may look at this as a gay marriage movie, but it's really a movie about marriage in general. I mean,
yeah, to me, I write films about characters, and I try to think what are the different elements that define that character, and sexuality can be one for most of us. It doesn't define them uniquely, and I really think this is a film about love and the different perspectives each of us have on love depending on what point in our life we might be at. So you have 3 different generations here. You have the young kid played by Charlie Tahane, you have this couple played by Marissa Tomei and Darren Burroughs who are in the middle of their life, and then you have John and Fred Molina who are towards the end of their life. And how does love look at different seasons of our life? And that's kind of one of the things that I hope people get from the film.
you and Alfred Molina, you have a great relationship in this movie. Did you spend a lot of time developing it off screen before the camera started shooting? Or?
Absolutely not, unless you could say a 20-year-long friendship. You know, an off and on friendship. We've never worked together, but we have lots of friends together, and we run in the same theater circles. So we knew each other well. We knew that we were going to have no trouble at all creating a relationship. Ira had a very interesting way of working. Ira Sachs, our director. He never put us together. He traveled to spend time with me in Calgary Alberta, where I was doing a film, with Alfred in Los Angeles. Went through the entire script in great detail, but keeping us separate and asking us not to perform at all, just to talk through things and to read the lines out loud as prosaically as we possibly could. He wanted it all to happen when we got together on the set. And it's a system which worked extremely well for Fred and me. We are theater actors. We are quite technical. So Ira had the good sense to sort of not even give us a chance to get set in our ways, to overcalculate a scene. And I think you see it. You see the sort of offhandedness, the relaxation, which is very important when you want to portray such a comfortable, sort of seasoned relationship.
I mean, the characters are all great. I mean, just the way they're written and acted, and just they have a lot of complexities to them. What was it like writing the script?
Well, I work with a wonderful screenwriter who's my collaborator on the script, named Mauricio Zacharias. And he and I spent a lot of time talking, I would say, and sharing stories, and talking about people we know in our lives. And then really trying to figure out the mechanics of the script is kind of the second stage, once we figured out the basic kind of outline of who the people are in their world. What Mauricio has, which is wonderful, is a real craft for piecing together the arc of the film and the different scenes, and in a way he brings in that mechanics to a point that I can then come in as a director. That's partially what I'm doing as a writer, is directing the film in the script stage.
Ira doesn't do a lot of rehearsals before a movie.
Like
Never.
I mean, it's what I described. He goes through a lot of material. We spent a lot of time together, but I wouldn't exactly call it rehearsing, mainly because the other actors weren't around.
Right. That's fascinating. Yeah, I keep wondering if movies benefit from a lot of rehearsal or less rehearsal. Is this like one of those movies that benefits from less rehearsal?
Who knows? I mean, there's you just basically go on the journey with the director, however he wants to do it, and however he or she thinks they'll get the best work out of you. We did a huge amount of work on simply backstory, and he took a lot of that from our lives. The fact that Ben is, it all worked out. Ben is from Ohio, I'm from Ohio. Ben went to art school. I wanted to be an artist. I went to art school when I was young. All sorts of little, he just picked through my own personal history, and whatever applied, he would invite into the mix.
This movie just has a wonderfully organic feel. I've really come to love movies where everything seems and feels so down to earth and the characters are so relatable. Is it challenging to keep things organic when directing a movie, or is it relatively easy?
Again, many of the characters in my film come from people that I know, which doesn't mean that I'm doing a replication of them in the film, but they're situations I can bring a lot to the table to describe. And then I really try to understand the actors in my film and understand who they are, and try to figure out what will give them the chance to bring as much as they can to the film of themselves. So it's a lot about what kind of situation you create on set. I try not to create a very artificial situation, so it's not, I don't actually say action, and I barely say cut. I try to let the world enter. Jean Renoir, I get to once quote him in a day, said on a movie set you should try to leave the windows open and let the world in.
That's so gay.
He doesn't mean homosexual, Uncle Ben. He just means stupid.
Hey, can I have some private time, please?
When you live with people, you know them better than you care to.
There was a famous sip-in right here in this bar.
Oh my God, you're that guy?
Yeah, it's one of the guys.
Wow. Well, this runs on me, fellas. You're such a liar.